You need a dose of this.
What's up, everyone? Welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight on another show. You need a dose of this. And I have Mr. Samuel Vera in the background. I'm going to be talking to him about his character. We all know and love Doodie. He's the ultimate cosplayer. And we're going to be talking about why. Why is he the ultimate cosplayer? How did he come up with this idea? Where did it come from? And all of that fun stuff tonight. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. Also subscribe, like, comment, do all that fun stuff. I do have a sponsor for the show. Now, this sponsor has a Kickstarter right now that's going to end in a couple of days. Check out the video and then check out the show notes and pledge to that campaign before it ends. Check this out.
My name is Eddie Lima, and I'm the creator of End of Zed, a project I've been working on for years. The story follows a robot who crash lands in the Bronx in 1982, severely damaged and with no memory, as he navigates one of the city's most turbulent times, shaped by the rise of the crack epidemic. He also discovers the powerful, positive force of hip-hop.
Where am I? Party people, are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
End of Zed isn't just another comic. It fuses the rebellious energy of New York City with a gripping dystopian narrative. This story delivers visually striking action and powerful themes. If you're into bold, unapologetic storytelling, then the End of Zed is for you. By backing this project, you're not only helping bring Zed's story to life, but you'll gain access to exclusive rewards. I can't wait for all of you to experience Zed's world. Back my project today and become part of this amazing journey.
Become part of that amazing journey. It's almost over. I think the campaign ends on Wednesday, so make sure you hit that pledge button and show some love to the End of Zed, which is a dope book by a great guy, Mr. Eddie Lima. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring in Mr. Samuel Vera, and we're gonna be talking again about the ultimate cosplayer. Who would that be? It is Doodie. What up, Sammy? What's going on, brother?
What's up? What's up?
What's up, dude? Yo, you look nice and cozy over there, bro.
I am cozy and nosy, bro. It's kind of chilly up in here. It's chilly. Yeah, man.
Yo, representing there's a Doodie, there's a Doodie, there's an alien in my toilet. So what up, Sammy? So this is the first time we're doing this, bro. I'm gonna talk. We're gonna talk about Doodie. We're gonna talk about the journey, where it started, how it's going, where you think it's gonna go. We're gonna do all that tonight. So tell the people who Doodie is, bro. Like, let's talk about it, man. Where'd you come up with this? How did you come up with this idea?
Doodie's my kindred spirit, bro. Doodie's an extension of the kid that I was growing up. Doodie, it happened by accident.
Yeah.
It was an editor or a newspaper that was looking for a sci-fi comedy comic strip for their paper. And I was going through Lincoln Tunnel, and then he just showed up in my head. He says, "Hi, I'm Doodie from Uranus," and I was like, "Oh!" And we met at IHOP, and I started sketching on the paper, and I was like, "Guys, check this out!" And you guys thought I was crazy, and I started designing the character on the paper, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it for anybody. You know me. I was like, I'm gonna just make it into a comic book, and that was the beginning of Doodie. I fell in love with the character from Jump.
Yeah, I remember, man. I remember that. I remember when the people came up to the table, they asked about, hey, because they saw what we had, right? We at the time we were doing the convention. We started doing the convention circuit.
Yep.
And we had, I had Russ, you had Gorf, right? You had the Cosmic Wars.
Yeah.
And I think we just might have had met Anibal Arroyo, who was working on Forbidden.
Yeah.
Right at the time, right?
Yeah. He came like at the year after, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like 2006. Did he come
No,
like?
I think no, because I think we had already
Was
started.
he? Did he?
Yeah, we had already started because I think
Yeah,
we
yeah,
met.
because he was feeling a certain kind of way because I dropped Forbidden for Duty. Yeah,
You dropped, yeah, forbidden. It was over.
I
Forbidden.
dropped I even dropped Cosmic Wars for Duty,
Yo,
and I love Cosmic
exact.
Wars.
And you know what's funny? All right, so you went away for a little while, come back, and you came back without duty. When we came back in
Yeah.
2018, 2019, this time around, there
Mhm.
was no duty, right? We brought the Catch the Craze podcast, which guys, subscribe to that if you haven't done so yet. We have a show tomorrow. Um, but then duty came back, and we were doing Catch the Crazies,
Yeah.
and Catch the Crazies took a back. Everything takes a back seat to the Dudester.
Well, Catch the
To the
Crazies would have kept
Dudester.
on if we didn't have that knucklehead artist that decided to
Oh,
bail last minute. So,
you know how that
you
goes.
know, I'm just saying,
You know,
me
you
being
know how that goes.
controversial,
You
but
know how that goes.
yeah. So, no, that would have continued if he would have felt, fulfilled his obligation.
But you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
And maybe this guy doing what he did just meant that duty had to, make a second appearance and make a comeback. And here he is.
Yeah.
So so this is that guy. So the story of Duty wasn't originally, I don't even know, was his name Duty originally? Like
Yeah.
in your head, was it always that name? Or like
Yeah.
was the title of the book? Because There's an Alien in My Toilet. Did
Right.
that come first, or did the character's name come first?
The name of my toilet came first,
Mhm.
and then it was Hi, I'm Duty from Uranus. So and then Duty. So it was there's name of my toilet. His name is Duty. He's from the planet Uranus. That's how it started.
Right. Why There's an Alien in My Toilet? How did that idea come?
What's up, Lou?
Oh, Lou is in the house already.
Oh,
Lou, what up?
What boy doesn't like potty jokes, right? Everybody laughs at potty humor, right? It's like, someone, cut loose one, and it's like, oh, he just, it's just humor. And the name of my toilet, it was just obvious that his name was Duty, and now, because his name and the association with the planet Uranus, people associate it with the toilet bowl because it's the name of my toilet, and they think the entire story centers around being scatological, and there's a lot of potty humor, which is not the furthest from the truth, right? And the punchline, the toilet bowl, and the significance you won't find out to issue 10. And and that's the running joke. So when people initially hear it, they just assume one thing, but then when they read it, it's a pleasant experience because this is funny, and this alien's goofy and he's wacky, and then oh my god, that chihuahua. So it's just like a whole lot of things that's happening in it. So it's not what people actually think.
So I'm always in the house. I got a key. Adelis is in the house. What up, Adelis? How you doing? Yeah, man. So because I know that when you first, obviously, when we were, like you said, we were in the IHOP and we were talking about, and you were like, I got an idea. Originally, it was just going to be that. It was just going to be, we're gonna give this to this newspaper. It's going to be it's almost like our way into the mainstream, right? Which was to get into newspaper, and then you changed it. You flipped the script. Said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create this character. He's going to be a kindred spirit.
Yep.
And you started on this venture. Now, the first issue, I remember the first issue because I did the cover for the first issue, and that was that's it. That's the cover with the old logo, right? We had the old logo and all that other stuff. When you came back this time around, you decided to rebrand. What was the thought process behind rebranding? There's and then going hardcore with Duty. It's about Duty now.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a whole new life, and start with a whole new perspective and introduce it to an audience that never heard of Duty. And with the rebranding, and I did some research on just like shapes, and I wanted a block shape that's easy. It looks great on a shirt. It's great on a box. It's easy on an action figure, right? And the original logo had like curves and slants, and I just wanted one easy image, easy to trademark. There's a lot of things, and so for me, that was where I wanted to start. I said, all right, I want to start with the logo, and then I want to go back in and go in and finish the story that I started. So then I started doing the art, the live drawings, and I was doing Duty as, and I was getting a lot of requests to draw Duty as, and that became a whole new life of its own
Yeah,
and introduced Doodie to a whole new audience that would never have seen it because they loved the characters that Doodie was becoming. Doodie was becoming their favorite characters. So then that just attracted a whole different group of people, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing. You talked about, you started doing Doodie as a character. And that actually, people may say, oh, gimmick, here it is. Here's the gimmick. Just dress them up as characters. And it's not a gimmick. This is something that happened organically
In the
in
books.
the story, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about how organic that is for him to dress up or become other characters within
Yes.
the story.
Yes. So Doodie is just like any other kid who has anxiety and has a lack of self-confidence. You overcompensate with bravado and ego, right? And that's what Doodie does, right? He's trying to fit in. He knows that his father's the Emperor of Uranus, right? And he knows that there's a perception because of his dad, and his dad's the most powerful. So he's just trying to fit in, and he wants to. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. He's trying to prove to society and his friends that he's not entitled, and he's trying to prove to his dad that he's capable, right? So because of that, he makes a lot of mistakes. And because of that, he's really not prepared for what he actually gets himself into. Right. So, and because of that, he makes up stories. So in his mind, in real life, he's taking a licking, right? But he keeps on ticking. And so in his alternate state, in his dream state, he becomes larger than life character, and he takes on new personas, right? And like in one of the issues, issue number 2, he gets attacked by red ants, and the cover of that book is "I See Red People," and he gets knocked out, and then he becomes, in his sleep, he becomes a samurai, then ants a ninja, right? So it started way back then, and just took on from there, and that's his way of masking his insecurities, masking his fears, masking the little boy within him, and he's overcompensated with large words and arrogance and bravado, and that's how he gets through life.
It's whenever you do things for like a younger audience, right? You always run the risk of like, okay, is this gonna be kid friendly or whatever it is?
Yeah.
This book is extremely kid friendly, despite the title, despite the some people would say toilet humor. It's very kid friendly. And what you also did was you incorporated learning into the process. Talk a little bit about how kids learn, because you talked about his vocabulary, so you kind of use that in the story. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was a kid that loved encyclopedias when I was a kid. Right? I love to learn.
What are those?
Yeah, kids don't know what that is today. Right? You missed out. You missed out,
dog. Google.
So
Google killed it.
Google sucks. But so it's there's nothing like opening up a book and going into different worlds. So I love going to museums, right? I remember the brown paper bag and school trips when we go to museums, and I would love to just read and listen and learn about the dinosaurs and about the plants and about the pygmy people and all these things, right? And so I wanted to be able to do the same with kids who were embarking in Doodie's world, and go on a journey, and then tap into their ability to retain information and learn and have fun with it. So I wanted trivia, and I wanted puzzles, and I wanted to keep that going because that's what excited me as a kid growing up.
Look at Daphne's comment. Sam is aggressively himself when it comes to Doodie, even though he's cosplaying. It's his character regardless of the costume. That's hilarious. Good point. Yes. Yeah, do you mind if I show some pages from the first issue?
No, go ahead.
All right, here we go. I'm going to show you guys some of what we're talking about when it comes to the vocabulary that Doodie speaks. And again, he's almost like his own worst enemy. At the same time, he's his own, most important person in the world. So this is the book remastered. You went ahead and did you recolor some of this stuff, Sam?
Every issue was recolored. And then the line work was redone on all the previous issues. And then starting, I think, on issue 3, a lot of new pages, and I just started redrawing everything from there.
Because these are the classic. These are all the classic pages.
These are vintage.
These are vintage right here. We relettered it, but everything else is. And obviously what we call this we remastered it. That's what we did to this book. You didn't reboot it. You remastered it. So here he is, crash landing on Earth. For those who don't know, Doodie is on a mission, and he thinks he's on a mission. And you find out more about his mission as the book continues, as you read on. But in the first issue, he crash lands on Earth, and this is him landing on this insignificant planet, right? Because it's
Yes.
beneath him. As
Yes.
he so look at him, look at him, look at him, look at
Yes.
him all. And we're going to talk about the design of Doodie, but if you notice, he's a little longer in these
Yeah.
pages, right? Because
Yes.
you had him do a little more.
Because I have gravity pulling on him, right?
Right.
It's like he's hanging, and I wanted to
Nice.
exaggerate.
And here's this pesky little, little freaking bird pecking at him,
Yes.
falls on the ground, bird flies off. It's
one
all
of my
that
favorite.
slapstick, it's almost like that, old school,
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny
Yeah.
cartoons kind of stuff. There he is. Now, some of the stuff is going to be out of order because we don't want to spoil too much. But here he is getting hit by something else, getting chased. I mean, this guy, for being this incredible specimen, he has no idea what he's gotten into.
Yes.
And here he is. So now you see him go through all of this stuff. I think it's in the second issue where he has his first, I guess, vision, or he turns into the first
Yes.
character he's going to turn into, right?
Yes.
Here he's just kind of exploring our world and getting into like just bunch of just mishaps and
It's just
things
first
that are going
contact,
on.
and every animal is the first experience for him.
Right. So this was dubbed First Flush. This is what the
Yes.
first issue is. First Flush. And there he is with the belly. Talk about the design, dude. Like what were you thinking when you were designing? Because it's an alien, right? We've seen aliens are a dime a dozen. So what made you go with this look for Doodie?
I never processed that until it's one of the biggest comments I get everywhere. I love the belly. Oh my gosh, the belly. Oh, that belly. Right. And so when I had to think about it, I think a lot of times, in life, things are subconscious. Right. But when you think about it, Bugs Bunny had a little pouch. Right. Alf had a belly. Some of the characters had little round pouches. And I don't know if that was the influence behind it, but I just felt it to be, here's this alien who thinks he's smarter than everybody. He's the best thing in the universe. But yeah, he's severely out of shape, right? Right. And so I wanted to add that element there because it's something it's almost endearing and almost maternal and almost just classic humor with the belly. So for me, I just think that's his signature look.
And this style of art is right up your alley, right? You enjoy drawing a more cartoony look. And I mean, look at your animals and the fur, dude. Look at all that detail in the fur. Look at that belly, bro. You gave him a little tail.
Yeah, give him the tail.
This was the first page. This is actually the first page, a little out of order here, out of sequence, but this is the first page of him kind of going on this mission, right? He's proud. He's the pride of Uranus. Look at all the people looking at him, ready to go, not knowing what he was about to get into. But here he is, getting into some trouble.
Friendly is considered round is considered friendly in shape language.
Yeah. So you pimped the first issue. That's right. We pimped it out. I believe round is considered friendly in shape language.
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on, let me remove that so you can see the rest of the page here. Yeah, man. Dude, it's just there he is. It's just slapstick, man. Then he goes down the hill, falls down, opens his eyes, and what do you see in his pupils there? It's the house that he's about to enter.
Yeah.
And that's how the first issue ends. So, people love key issues, right? So that's the first issue. And I'm sure collectors, do you print out the first issue for collectors at conventions?
So now, spoiler alert. This cover is being retired. So
that's right.
There's going to be guys, April next year is the 20-year anniversary of Doodie.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to show a little video. We have a little video.
And there will be a 20-year special anniversary limited edition cover that I will be launching next year in celebration of that. And that'll also, that cover, there's only going to be a small run of that. And then there's going to be a new cover because I will no longer print the consecutive issues after I sell out of my inventory. It's only going to be number 1, the graphic novel, and then 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then once I get the second half of the graphic novel, then I won't produce the single issues anymore. It'll just be the graphic novel. So one will always stay in print. So there's going to be next generation cover for issue number 1, a special anniversary edition. So more to come on that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Let's show the video. Let's show the little teaser for
Yeah.
that. Since you brought it up, hold on. $20 of
20
Doodie,
years.
bro. 20 years of Doodie. I want to show something that you shared with me before we came on, and this is one of the first looks
The original word, yes.
of Doodie.
That was the
right?
first. That was the first concept sketch for Doodie.
Concept art from from 2005, April 2005.
Yeah.
So April, we would have been at one of the Big Apples,
Yeah.
right? That's in April. Yeah. So this is again vintage artwork. Let's see it. What is Lou says?
I'm glad you said that.
Dude,
I'm glad you said that because there's something
20
special
years.
around that too. So I'll be talking about that later on the show.
Nice. And the glow
Thank
up
you.
is real. So this is him. So this is Doodie without the little tie, without the
Yeah.
belt. This is Doodie in all his glory, so to
Yeah.
speak.
The original
Right.
Doodie. Yeah.
So this is the round eyes. Again, you talked about shapes earlier today.
Yeah.
And so you had the face, the eyes. You had like these long freaking antennas. Look how long that neck is,
Yeah.
bro. Jesus Christ. I mean, what influenced the look for you? What was the biggest influence, would you say, on the look of the character?
The biggest influence. All right. So it's a combination of things.
Okay.
So when I was a freshman in high school, actually when I was an 8th grader in junior high school, and I used to go with my brother to the local high school in the afternoon, and he would run track, and I would sit down on the ground and I would just watch ants. And so these ants, and it was fascinating to see, bro. There's a whole world that exists beyond us, right? So I'd watch these ants and go into battle with flying ants, with winged ants. So these wing ants was, look like a pebble to us, but it's a boulder to them. Would stand right, and they're trying to attack the one ant. And so, but then the other ants come from behind and pull them by the wings. They drag them into the holes. It was crazy.
Wait, you saw this?
Yes, I was sitting there just watching for like an hour and a half because my brother would run until like he was running
my God.
to Bangladesh, right? So I would sit there and I was fascinated by it, right? So I think a lot of it because ants, round shapes, big eye, right?
Sure.
And so between that and Fraggle
That
Rock,
makes sense.
I was a
that
big
makes
Jim
sense.
Henson fan and the Muppets
Sure.
fan. So
Yeah.
I can see the merging of two influences when this illustration came up. But then, when I went back, I was like, I wasn't really satisfied with the look. And then I kept playing around until I found the look I was looking for.
I like Lou's comment. Lou says, I really like the first version. You should develop the original to be Doodie's cousin.
The ghosting, I know, right?
Yeah, when you mentioned that thing about you watching the ants, it brought me back to that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
Where you like what you would see what that world would look like if you were the size of an ant. That's what it reminded me of. Some serious ant X.
The glow.
No, you are on fire tonight, baby. You're on fire. I love it. I love it. All right, so let me show you. Let me show you guys. So now let's move along, and I'll show you how that changed. Right. So we talked about the elongated look of Doodie, and then you went to this.
Yeah.
Here you brought it again. This is a scanned version of it. Obviously, you have the original, but you have the tie, you have the utility belt. You have a little toy gun. Now this is a supporting cast. Now here you start to create the supporting cast for Doodie, because obviously there's an alien in my toilet, there's a house. What are the humans going to look like? So talk to me a little bit about the evolution. You shrunk them down a little bit, and then the supporting cast.
Yeah, well, the evolution, number one.
Wait, hold on, Sam. Before you say that, maybe I've been on that Doodie juice.
That's it, man. Doodie juice. So I don't know if this happens to you, but I get a lot of visions in my head, and I see things, when it comes to these characters, and it's almost like they talk to you, right? And so I've had an obligation to get the look right, and then I can't remember the moment this was happening, but I knew that when I finished illustrating this, that I knew that was the duty that I was looking for. That was duty.
Mm,
But I also knew that duty coming to Earth, there's got to be a family, and I wanted the single dad raising a son, right? And because as the issues go along, there's going to be interest for the dad down the road, but I wanted a single dad with a boy because I wanted him to get into the house. And so I started coming up with the looks until, and again, this was the original rendition. It's not what Bobby ended up looking like, right? So Bobby
mhm, mhm.
totally different. So, but it was just kept playing it around until I knew my gut told me this is the look I'm looking for. So I just kept playing.
Yeah, yeah, this is it. This is it. Now, Daphne has a comment here. She says, "I can see the ET influence."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe in the long finger.
The
You know what I
finger,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
You know, it's funny because cartoons, most cartoons, you'll see cartoons will have four fingers, right? We
yeah,
have five, but cartoons will have four. You went with the three, with
yeah.
three fingers. Any reason for the three fingers? Easier to draw, just wanted to be different. Like any reason for the that just three fingers rather than the four that cartoons usually have?
That species on Uranus only has 3 fingers.
There you go. That's it. Talk a little bit
That's
about all
it.
right. So talk a little bit about the species, right? Because obviously, yeah, we don't. Uranus is a real planet,
Mhm.
but we don't know what the hell's on there. So you decided to use that as kind of like the planet
The
for
backdrop, yeah,
duty, right?
yeah.
What are the species in Uranus look like, dude? Like, what was that in your head? Like, what told you, okay, I'm gonna do this? Like, what do they look like? Do they all look like duty? Like, what's the look for these characters?
So yeah, I mean, it's just like there's rank and file,
Look at
just like
that.
on Earth, right? So you have the elite population, which are the leaders, right? So there's this aristocrat environment where there's just a little bit of snobbiness going on, but right, and there's an order to the system, but then
Mhm.
there's a population of the next generation, right? That's not confined by it, but they're being groomed to meet those standards, but they're not confined by it because they have free will, right? And they want to explore, and they get that almost pass because of duty, right? So
Mhm.
duty has a bunch of friends, right? He has Cheeks is one of his best friend, right? And then there's then there's the three D's, Dee Dee, Dolly, and Daisy, right? And so there that's his clique, those are his friends. And so because duty's so carefree and he gets away with a lot because who his dad is, they're able to deviate from the norms of society and be kids, right? But when they're in class, they're being groomed to be members of society and speak a certain way and walk a certain way and look a certain and act a certain way.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna open up something that I have here so you guys can see what Sam's talking about. And I think you did an incredible job with creating this world, and I'll show you guys what I mean. I know people are like, what are you talking about, George? Hold on, not that. Let's share the right thing here. Let's present. Because issue 4 brings you into that world.
Yeah,
So issue 4 gives you this.
yeah,
And this is your vision of what it looks like, and this is what I like about creating, and this is what I admire, dude. And I think I commend you for is your creativity, the way you look at things, right? I talk to people all the time at conventions, and when you talk about creative people, we see the world a different way. Everything becomes a story. You're walking down the street, like for example, you saw a group of ants. That could have been a story. That could have been a creative story. We just look at the world differently, and
yeah.
this is what you're doing with here. Like this is. I mean, the characters, the aliens, you get to play. I mean, look at these creatures, you know, look at these things. And obviously, growing up in like the 80s and the
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s, obviously, there was a lot of that, right? You talk about Jim Henson, you talked about, Star Wars and stuff like that, and like how our minds, this is these pointed things here. Talk a little bit about the backdrops and like the shapes and what you saw when you were creating this stuff.
Well, like everybody out there, if you're not a Star Wars fan, I mean, I think when
Like this.
the Phantom Menace came out and the next generation, the next iteration of Star Wars movies came out, and what Jim Henson does with landscapes and concept art and world building, I wanted to tap into that in the simplistic form for for my world, but I wanted to tap into that. I wanted to make it unique. I said, what's going to be its DNA? What's going to be its signature look? If you went to the planet Uranus, what's it going to look? It can't look like Earth, right? There could be some symbolisms, similarities, but I want it to be different. I wanted the architecture to be different. I wanted the shapes to be different. I wanted it to almost seem like their structures were floating, you
Mm.
know.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I see
so
that.
I just played with shapes, and I forgot, I was watching a documentary where I forgot the name of the artist who made it so simple to understand, where you can take any shape and you can make it into an object or a structure,
Mm.
just by how you render it, any shape. And so I took that approach and I went to the most simplistic form. And I said, how do I just create that environment so that when you look at it, you feel like you're looking at something new?
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. And I like the look of the of the again, the supporting cast, right? Because you have
Yeah.
to have the supporting cast. Now, this book was done, I think this is the fourth book. So this is when you started. Obviously, you had been out of the game for a while. Are these original pages or are these newer pages?
These are newer pages.
These are newer pages.
Yeah.
And you could tell, I mean, obviously your coloring style here starts to evolve,
Yeah.
right? You start changing the way things color, the shading,
When I came
the
back
lighting.
in, I hired a colorist to do the first couple issues, and then I wasn't happy with the
Oh
finished
yeah,
product, and I said, "You
true.
know what? I'm going to teach myself how to color." And I started using Clip Studio, and it was to the races from there. I was putting in hours and just trying so I can color my own books. I was trying to get the look I was looking for. Um, you know, one of the things, like, I love Angry Birds,
Hmm,
the
hmm.
cartoon, and when you look at how they color their backdrops and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So I was using that as an inspiration for what I wanted.
yeah, yeah, man. This is, I mean, the colors, even the palette, the color palette. What you used, as for like the costumes and stuff like that. What
Yeah.
was the thought behind their
Well,
color
the
schemes?
backdrops, I wanted to be complementary but muted, right? Because I wanted
Mhm.
the characters to stand out, right? So I was almost like a teal, greenish, bluish, right? But I wanted to be there so you could look like you could see it was metal. There were, that the backdrop was there, but I wanted the eye to focus on the characters. And
Mhm.
um but a lot of it has to do with the fact that in my alternate world, I mean, it was the fashion industry, right? And so complementary colors are key in fashion, right? So for me, it was like making sure that whatever choice I use for the uniforms, whatever choice I use for anything, that they support each other.
Sam, you say fashion? Are we talking modeling? Sam? What were you
No,
modeling
man, I
or
was in
something?
retail, bro, in the fashion world. I'm acting
Damn,
up.
man. I thought you were gonna, give us a little story about you modeling
You
back
better
in
work,
the
work.
day. Better work, bud. Nah, this looks dope, man. Yeah, I just wanted to pull those pages up just to show people what some of the later pages look like, and the evolution of you as an artist as well.
Yeah,
Because you know, you started you okay, let's talk a little bit about, I talk about evolution, but let's talk about how you produce the book. Because in most cases, and most artists and most people, you write a script, you send it to your artist, whether he's using 11 by 7 or she's using 11 by 17 sheets of paper, or you're on an iPad or whatever, you usually have a page that you're producing. It's a
yeah,
page, it's one
yeah,
page.
yeah.
You don't work that way. You
Uh,
work a little different.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the way you work.
I'm an odd
Uh,
bird. So,
you're not bird.
and it
You're
has
not.
gotten even more complicated
Oh,
as
damn.
time has gone by. Because now what happens is, like, right now, issue
Mhm.
seven, I already see the pages in my head, and then so I start thumbnailing the pages. The
So
words
you
haven't even.
okay? So you thumbnail.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
started, but they're all now. I do everything digitally. I do it on my
Yeah,
Cintiq. I used to do everything on physical paper. I still have all the original illustrations, 11 by 17 storyboards,
right.
but now I do it so it's easy because now I do quick sketches, right?
Mhm.
And I'll drop in the shapes for the panels. I'll count off in my head what I'm seeing in my head. Like, like issue 7, we introduce no boo for you, catching ghosts is what we do, right? It ends on issue 6 where they pull up, right? And the dad's at the door with Bobby, and then they see the truck, the pickup truck pull up. Well, issue 7 starts off with guys tearing stuff up, right? So in my head, I already saw everything, right? I see what's happening. So I just thought the words haven't even come out yet, right? So because I have the synopsis for all of the issues, right? But what happens is it just keeps coming to me, and I just put it on paper, and then I step back, and I look at it, and I start hearing the dialogue, and then I started adding the dialogue afterwards. And then I write the script afterwards, because I have to send you the dialogue so you can put it, the letter it. But the illustration comes first. So the plot is there, then the illustration, then the dialogue.
She goes, I'm not sure if I can imagine Sam being old Zoolander. This goes back to the I can totally imagine Sam being Zoolander. You kidding me? This guy. But no, that's interesting, man, because I know that in some of the some of the books, I think maybe issue 3, you literally had like just the not even thumbnails, they were just panels. They were just like single panels that you kind of like would plop together and put the pages together that way. It wasn't like a page with the panels in it. So so you stopped doing it that way. You now you're actually thumbnailing a full page.
I'll do the whole page right away. I just what I do is I'll create 7 blank pages, right? And then I have all the tabs open, and then I will just start dropping the squares first, and then I'll start thumbnailing based on the squares. It's like I only need 2 shapes and a void, and I'll do that. Or I need 4 shapes, and I'll just go from there. And then the next day I'll leave it alone. I won't ink it. The next day I'll come back and I'll look at it, and I was like, oh no, I wanted this here. This will look better here. So then I start playing with it, right? And it's that, and then once I have that, then I'll start doing the blacks over it. And then I'll just ink everything, and I won't color anything until all 24 pages are fully inked. Then I'll go back to page 1 and I'll start dropping the colors. I haven't even gotten to the lettering yet and the dialogue. Then after it's done, then I go back and I say, all right, Doodie, talk to me. And then I just start putting the words in.
So the dialogue comes after everything's drawn. So you're not even thinking about. So damn, that's interesting.
I hear it in my head, so I already know. So it's like it's ingrained. It's almost like I've seen the movie, so I know the movie. Like you go see Scarface, you know exactly what Tony Montana is going to say. So that's what happens with Doodie in my head. I can hear it, so I already know there's some key things that if I feel like I may miss it, I'll write it down.
Yeah.
Right, to remember. Right, and so I'll create a layer, and I'll just put a note there. Remember this.
Okay.
Right, and then I'll do that to keep me. So this is why I stay focused, because sometimes I'll miss something. I'm like, damn, what was that? So
I know, that's what I'm thinking there, because you may come up with some cool stuff that you never didn't write down, or maybe even record it on like a memo recorder or something and say, okay, this is what this character is going to say.
Yes, but like a project that I'm doing for a publisher, which happens to do with the Doodie's World. I didn't write the script. I plotted it, and then I just started illustrating, and then the dialogue came right after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting, man. And listen, we all do things our way, but this is your way of doing it because you're drawing it, right?
Yeah.
Like if
I was giving somebody else, it would have a full script.
Right, you'd have a full script. Yeah, because obviously there's no way to do it this way. But yeah, man, that's interesting. That's the way you blow it up. Now, does it make it easier, harder, faster, slower? Like
sometimes it makes it harder. Sometimes it makes it harder because sometimes I'm like, where was I going with this? Right. And so, so sometimes that'll happen. Right. So then I have to go back and look at the first illustrations. And then sometimes I'll just go back and read the last issue again. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know where I was going now. So sometimes it'll slow me down. Like for instance, this past year when I was dealing with severe artist block, it was because I didn't write it down. And then there was a lot of other stuff going on. So when I would go to paper, I would resort to drawing Doodie as another character because it was the easiest thing to do. And it was more. It felt like it was more challenging for me because I just wasn't connected. Like I wasn't hooked to the Matrix. Well, now I'm inspired and like I'm hooked up and I got all of the juices flowing. So everything's coming to me now.
So let's go back to the ultimate cosplayer, right? You talk about like all that stuff. The only way, I guess, because I'm thinking of like the comics in each issue, right? And I think it's in issue 2 where I see red people, right?
Yeah.
Where Doodie has his first hallucination of him as something else, and in this case, it's a samurai.
Yeah.
I think that's the first hallucination he has. That's the first Doodie has. So for collectors, for people who collect comics or collect key issues, the only way to get these issues are through your Kickstarter, right? And once the 10th Kickstarter is over, no more single issues. Is that what we're doing? Or
no? Once I sell out of my current inventory for issues 1 through 5, I'm going straight to graphic novel. I'm just sticking with the graphic, and only one will be reprinted. So if you have it now, you're golden. Because I'm not going to. The only other time I may print 1 through 10 is when I get to issue 10. And when I launched that last graphic novel, and then that's the only time I'll print it for that campaign. But the reality is, I'm an independent. Unless I had a major publisher who decides that they're going to take care of it. But I'm an independent, and you see how I travel. You see my booths. I had 4 long boxes with my current inventory that I took with me to conventions. It's just not working for me, to be able to carry all that stuff. So I'd rather sell the graphic novels because I also have the children's book. I have Doodie's Adventures, right?
Yeah.
I'm working on the art book, right? So it's going to be about 200 pages. It's a really big art book. So I'm working on that art book that's coming out hopefully the fall of this next year. So that's another big heavy book on top of the graphic novels. Plus I have my children's books, and I have Forbidden and the Crazies, and so I have and then I have Doodie's Monsters, and then on top of everything else. So for me, just from economic reasons, it doesn't serve me well to produce all those issues.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now there's no spoon. So all right, so this is a good reason for those watching to stay tuned for the Kickstarters when they come out, because in the Kickstarter, that's the only time really where, like, as an add-on, for example, could you get issues 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, and 7 as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the only time you'd be able to get those issues. So that's a good reason to pledge to the campaigns and to find those missing, because again, like I said, key issues are a big thing when you're collecting comics, right? Like when you think about the first appearance of, say, the Hobgoblin in Amazing Spider-Man, or the first appearance of the Hulk, or the first appearance of any of these characters in Marvel or DC. Now you're talking about the first appearance of Doodie as the first cosplay he did in the book, and that would be in issue number 2. So if you're like, who the hell is this Doodie character? What is this? There's anything in my toilet. When the next Kickstarter comes out, whenever that is, I think that'll probably be next year.
April.
When you finish.
It'll be in April. To for the anniversary, 20th anniversary.
Okay. So in April, when that Kickstarter is getting ready to launch, okay, issue number 2, got to pick that one up. Issue number 1, you obviously got to pick up because it's the first issue. But issue number 2, it's the first appearance of him as the samurai. The second hallucination that he has is, I think it's the cowboy.
Yeah. The second hallucination, it's the army, the military, right?
Military.
Yeah. That's
issue 3.
Yeah. And then it's the cowboy.
Issue 4 is the cowboy.
Yeah.
So all of these issues have, Doodie as something, and these are the original iterations of the character as something else. This is where he starts becoming the ultimate cosplay. Some people may say, oh, you're just trying to sell more, you're just trying to sell stickers, you're trying to sell prints. It was kind of born from that, right? Because every time something happens to him in the story, when he gets knocked out, he hallucinates and he becomes this character. And that's how the cosplay side of Doodie comes out.
Yeah.
when did you decide to start doing them as all these other characters, Sam?
Well, it's funny because I have old sketches of me drawing duty as a barbarian, as me drawing duty as SWAT, and military guys. But
Right.
when I decided to be a brokepreneur, see how that works for me. I'm still broke, right? So I decided to be a brokepreneur. I started doing live feeds and drawing, and then I started
Remember that.
getting, and I started when I launched the art channel. Then I started getting requests. Hey, it'd be nice to see Judy as the Brawn Hornet, from Fat Albert. Oh, it'd be nice to see Duty as whatever Captain Crunch. And so that's what it started. And then I started getting, and then it just became. I mean, I think I've illustrated Duty as 400 different characters since I got back in the game. So there's so many Duty as, and that's all that stuff's going into the art book.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's basically how it happened. It was just, and so for me, it was interesting to watch the evolution of comics and art, because as I re-entered the comic book arena, I realized that the dynamics have changed and the interests have changed. And the comic, it was not the initial draw, it was the art, which was the point of entry, and it was the extra stuff, the prints and the stickers and the trading cards that was appealing to people at events. And then I had to really work on my pitch to tie in the character that they and the artwork that they liked to the book. Hey, by the way, this is my book. Oh, I didn't know you did comics, right? Because they see everything. So it was just a natural evolution that I didn't plan for. I just adapted to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it worked out. And again, good idea on the art book, right? Because inside this art book, you're going to have the renditions of the character, and as many as you did. And this is the thing about, I think it was during COVID too, where you were like going on the air, right? On streaming every day. Every day you did a stream while you were out of work or whatever, being the brokepreneur you were being. You did a freaking sketch. Now, what did that do for you? Doing that, other than build up this portfolio of 400 characters, but I guess artistically and mentally, emotionally, what did that do for you, sitting in front of that camera and in front of that computer and drawing all those days?
Artistically, it trained my eye, my hand-eye coordination. Artistically, it made me fearless to take on challenges, because it forced me to try different types of poses and shapes and things. Like, for instance, the ET scene with Duty as Elliot with ET and Herman's being ET right on the bike. Bicycles and me did not really, you never seen a bike with me, right? Because it was always hard for me. So it forced me to take on my fears and take on some of those objects and shapes that I would have avoided, by choice, right?
Sure.
And so it makes it easier because a lot of the stuff that's happening is happening in the house. And it's obnoxious drawing, the backdrop, the house, right? It's obnoxious, but I've gotten so quick with it, right? And the angles and and so what it did was my confidence has grown as an illustrator. Traditional inker, I suck on paper, but on a computer, you wouldn't even know, right? So I think for me, it's like I got another level of confidence, and Duty has evolved significantly because of it.
Damn, dude. Lou's throwing some math out here. Look at this. 20 Earth years on Uranus would be equivalent to a little over a quarter of a Uranian year. One Uranian year is 84 Earth years. Wow.
Lou, look at you doing the homework.
Breaking stuff down.
Yes.
No, but that's interesting that you say, because, people always talk, the old cliche, right? Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. And I think that when you sit down and you draw every day for whatever amount of days you did it for, it did something for you, right?
Yeah.
Even the coloring, dude, like the coloring, but you have to, I think part of it is you have to acknowledge that you need to get better in order to get better.
Yes.
If you refuse to accept that you need to get better, you'll never get better, because you feel like I'm good. I don't need to get better. But I think that's that step, saying to yourself, how do I get better?
Well, I'm a student first. I'm always a student. So I always approach everything from the point of being a sponge and wanting to learn to be better. I learn from people out there. I look at, I look at the Daphnes of the world. I look at the Lupins of the world, right? there's a lot of amazing,
artists.
talented people out there, right? So for me, that's how I challenge myself. And if you look, I mean, I got all those books back there, right? It's for me, it's like I love art of books. I just got the Art of Dragon Ball Z. It's fantastic, right? So I wish they had an art of Buzz Lightyear and Star Command because I love that animation. I've been hunting for that for like nobody's business, but I'm always a student. I love to learn. I never stop learning. I want to get better every day. I feel like my coloring style complements my art, but I want to be better, right? So it's like I know that there's so much more I can learn, right? So for me, it's the journey is what makes it fun,
Yeah.
right? Because when I realized that I was paying somebody to do something that wasn't fulfilling me, I needed to force myself. I said, well, I'm a creative. I need to figure this out. Right. And I forced myself and I just dug in because there's a look that I was trying to capture. There's a specific look and feel that I wanted to capture. And I felt like only I can do it. And so I just needed to dig my heels in and be a student again. So that's the best part because I love that part. As time consuming as it is, when it starts clicking, then the fun starts.
Yeah. Big shout out to that. I know I got a lot of drawing done myself watching Sam's draw streams. Yeah. And Lou, I remember that there was a time when Sam would have a sit a test. I'm getting ahead of the game. Oh, you would have a test?
A sitter test?
You would have I don't
know.
Oh,
that was when we used to do the questions, the Q&A.
On the Catch the Craze, the quiz.
Craze?
Are you talking about the quiz? The quizzes, Lou, that did at the back of the book? Maybe that's what you're talking about. But yeah, man, that's it. And a lot came out of those streams, man. A lot came out of those streams. Do you miss doing those? Or
I do miss doing them because I started building it fast, right? I started getting, especially from the Twitch family. I mean, there was like a group of 20 something youngins that they just like flooded my stream when I was live. That's and awesome. Like you just got bombed or whatever. I don't know what they call it. They got some term for it. And I was like, is this a bad thing? I didn't want an answer. They go, no, when we see someone we like, we just start hitting up all our friends and we give you support. And then they started subscribing and then they just started showing up weekly. And it just started building from there. So I do miss the lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did. Yep. And the QR code, the maze. Yeah. Sam didn't make it easy. That was for kids.
Rated. Yes, I got rated. That's what it was.
But the maze looked like a freaking QR code. Oh, you got rated.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, nah, dude. Any chance that you'll be bringing those streams back? I mean, you do them occasionally, right? You still do them. Are you gonna bring them back on a more regular basis, though?
It's been challenging. The position that I have in retail takes up a lot of my time. It takes up a lot of my time. So I think, and then the hard part is that sometimes I don't want to show what I'm working on because right now I'm working on projects, and so I don't want to show what I'm working on. And then, and then I put a pause right now on Doodie Doodarious stuff because I'm working on these projects, and so I completed a project that you'll be hearing about soon, and you'll be hearing about this project that I'm about to complete soon in next year. And then that's not even published through me. So, which is awesome. So I'm excited about that. More to come on that. I can't talk about it right now, but so I'm hoping in the new year that I'll be able to do more live streams and get some more Doodie Doodarious on there. But I haven't been, it's been tough. Even the Catch the Craze has been tough because, when I get home, I got to run up here and then I got to get a couple of hours in and try to draw at the end. So I'm just trying to complete a lot of things and get things off my plate.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, it's good to be busy, man. It's good to be busy and it's good to be, I mean, I think it gets you in a right state of mind. And when you find success doing what you love to do, and success can come in any ways. And in your case, for example, is being able to do these projects that you're talking about that you can't talk about. That's great, dude, because it reinvigorates that drive and you want to continue to do what you have to do. Because I know for a while, dude, it was tough especially with the 6th issue and the 7th issue of the book itself. It was tough. So it's nice that you're back and you're drawing, and issue number 7 is happening. Because again, this is a 10-issue run, so you're almost at the end, and then you obviously have more things.
Yeah, then once the 10th issue is done, then I will complete the Doodie's Monsters,
Right.
and then go into the samurai series. So there's Duty stories forever. So I
Right.
have
Yes.
Duty adventures. Some of them take place back on Earth. Some of them take place like Duty's monsters takes place in space. And so all depends. But I have a bunch of stories. I also have Herman's story
Right.
to tell. So that's there, and that so there's a bunch of stories within the story, and there's a lot of endearing characters that will have their own stories in the long game, as long as I'm able to do it. But my first priority is finish this book. This year, potentially. If I do only 2 Kickstarters, it'll be issue 7 and the art book in 25, and then the goal is to have everything wrapped up next year. The beginning of 26.
26.
Yeah,
Yeah.
26. Have all of them completely done by 26, and so I can continue from that point on.
It's amazing how long it takes to produce these books, man.
It makes it harder when you have a full-time job.
Well, yeah.
Because when I was a brokepreneur, I was producing them like hotcakes. I was like, bang, bang, bang. And then
Yeah.
now it takes a little longer because of there's a lot of things, it's like things that you don't plan for, it's
Mhm, mhm.
I had a coworker that passed, and that really took a toll on us as a
Yeah.
team. And and then I had my cat that passed the same week,
Right.
and so then I had somebody break into the car, and so this, all these things, real life stuff that takes its toll on you, and it slows you down a bit. And so just trying to balance it all. But I'm excited about next year, and I'm excited about the 20th anniversary. A lot of good things are coming up for the 20th anniversary, and if you're a true Duty collector, you're going to want to know, and more to come on what's going to happen. But Lou Pond alluded to something about doing a piece for the 20th anniversary. So I'm picking 20 new artists, new artwork. So if you're an artist out there, only one per person that's going to go into the art book, and this art book is going to go into stores. It's going to have a USBN number, barcode, a whole bit, which it'll launch in the fall. But in lieu of the 20th anniversary, so you send me your best Duty, and I'm going to pick the 20 that's going to go into the book as a 20th anniversary. Part of the 20th anniversary, there's going to be a 20th anniversary special edition, limited edition, issue number 1 cover, right? That only collectors can get at the launch of that campaign in April. There's also going to be a 20-year anniversary limited edition trading card set. Special. You've never seen this stuff before. I've been working on the designs for this. So there's a lot of amazing stuff coming up for the 20th anniversary of Disney and My Toilet and for Duty. So I'll be announcing all that stuff as days come. You'll hear it on Catch the Craze, you hear it on the art channel and on social media. It's January 1st, I start blitzing like crazy. You know how I get to promote the 20th anniversary. Oh, definitely. Oh, get the hands up. Awesome. And those 20 artists will have their art piece will be on a full page with your bio in the art book. So that's going to be part of it. So those are 20 additional pages of I'm looking to do a 200-page art book. I'm really working on this. I'm going to take my time. There's a lot of great Duty stuff that's going to go into that book, but I want to give 20 artists out there an opportunity to get in that book. Show me your best Duty. I'll be promoting that everywhere I go. And then also those 20 artists will have an opportunity to do live streams with me on the art channel and on Catch the Craze. So we'll be talking about a lot of stuff. So I'll be celebrating it. And then that's why I'm hoping to do San Diego Comic-Con. I apply for San Diego Comic-Con. I want to go back to where it started, and I want to celebrate the 20th anniversary at the big show. So we'll see what's to come.
So in April, you're talking about launching issue number 7.
Issue number 7.
Right. When would the art? When are you thinking the art book will be launched?
That would be around October.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you have some time, guys. You have time. You have about a little under a year. To do all this stuff. So that's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's a great idea. 20 artists, 20 years. Duty Mania. Duty Mania starts next year. Sammy, this has been fun, bro. Thank you so much for doing this, dude. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking about Duty, the ultimate cosplayer, hanging out. Tomorrow night, we're going to be back hanging out.
Catch the Craze podcast.
We're going to flip. I'll be on that side. He'll be on this side. We'll be on Catch the Craze tomorrow with a new guest. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this tomorrow as well. Make the announcement about that tomorrow. When will you be able to tell us about these secret projects, bro? When do you think you'll be able to,
When I get the green light, right now I'm on a gag order. So when I get the green light, I can't talk about it until I get the green light. So I can't show anything. I can't talk about it until I get cleared. But so what I'm doing, this is all part of the master plan to get Doodie into eyes who would not necessarily have seen Doodie or for whatever reason. All different audiences. So branching out, more to come with that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, there's got to be a method to the madness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And 2025, brand new year. What we do is we try to keep promoting our stuff. Doodie's going to be big in 2025 because it is his 20th year on Earth.
20 years.
So yeah, man, that's going to be a good time. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Tomorrow, Sammy and I will be on Catch the Craze. So check us out there. Sam, you also have doodiesworld.com. Talk about your art channel.
Yes, The Art of Samuel on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, check it out. A lot of cool stuff on there. I got some live drawings. I have some behind the scenes vlogs from Comic Cons. I'm editing. I'm almost finished editing the San Antonio Comic Con vlog.
Oh, right.
With the Four Horsemen. It was the best of times and worst of times. So that's probably going to be the title.
That would be a good title.
Yes. So yeah, it was a great experience. You're going to see some really interesting stuff. We had a ball, just the guys hanging out and reliving our youth. And then but the convention, not so much, but get ready for that vlog. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, man. Awesome stuff. Again, thank you for coming on, guys. Everybody, thank you for checking this out. And let's close out with your really cool little clip here for the 20th anniversary. Guys, thank you so much. And we are going to sign out. So peace out. Let's do this.